Another is to euthanize the mouse with an overdose of chemical anesthetics, like the pound does with unadoptable strays and lost animals, never retrieved. This is painless when administered correctly, but gets expensive and time-consuming to perform with each individual mouse. Then there is the option to decapitate the mouse, if it's small enough, with a pair of very sharp scissors. This is cheap and fast. Jay has to lay a sheet of plastic and paper towels on his lab bench to catch the mess. Yes, small sacrifices for the greater good. This is what he wants to do for the next 5 years or so. It's something I can believe in concept, but I would never be able to get my hands bloodied. His title is Research Associate number 2. In bed, we talk of the future. Maybe we'll get to stay. Maybe we'll go to New York City. And then, but what if, how about we excite and exhaust ourselves with hypotheticals? I tell Jay what Tim suggested. He wraps his arms tightly around me and says, "You're not going anywhere." Exactly. I'm staying right here and you'll go somewhere else. No, you know what I mean. Right, that I'm not going anywhere, and then you can come back to visit me in this house. He squeezes me tighter, and I try to wrestle myself free. You think you're so funny, he says. I am the funny one in this relationship. Hey, stop wiggling so much. Be nice. I tuck myself into him, the way it feels right for both of us. My head on his chest and legs wrapped around his. We lie quietly for a while. He says, "Good night, little sweetheart," and falls asleep. His body twitches. I'm not little, I tell him in my mind. My legs are thicker and stronger than yours. I close my eyes and listen to the movements inside him. It does not matter how many times I hear them. It's like receiving dispatches from another realm. I, too, should apply to graduate school, according to my mom. About Jay, she doesn't question whether I will follow him. You will cry if he is far away, she says, matter-of-factly. If I'm also in school, however, we can both be doing something productive and respectable at the same time. You can change jobs, go really work in technology at a tech company that can pay a lot, marketing or finance, management. These writing people doesn't respect you. They don't pay what you deserve. You have knowledge about technology now. Business school likes that. I don't want to. Why not? More money. No, I don't want to work with those people. They're all weird and have social problems too. Have you ever talked to one of them? You feel like you're dying inside. Everything is, how can you benefit me? I just want a fair raise and to somehow keep this job. I hate it when you tell me to do something that doesn't make any sense, and I don't want it to do it at all. Geez, calm down. Why none of my kids care about making money? How do you become like this? Sorry, Mommy. But something in her voice tells me that she's at least a little proud. Hundreds of thousands of clicks on my stories, the data states. On some, more than 1 million. The charts do not capture how many of those millions scroll down past the first paragraph or even the headline and photo, but that doesn't affect ad revenue or the amount of praise one receives from the editors. Everybody gets excited when a story trends on Google News or go viral. Once a week, the digital side posts a list by the office entrance of the most clicked on pieces. Writers gather around to stare. They trace their finger down in hopes of reaching one of their own. It is meant to breed healthy competition, they tell us. I'm consistently middling, with the occasional bump, which is better than being at the very top 1 week and off the next week. Those writers have no sense of their value. In the car with Jasmine, a staff photographer, and my closest work friend, we're headed down the 101 to some product launch announcement in the South Bay. Me to write, her to shoot. She's driving, smoking a cigarette, blowing the smoke into the car even though her window is open. It's her car, so I don't say anything, even though I'm sick and coughing. The other night I slept with a guy, she says. A white guy. Me? Uh-huh. Tell me if I was being overly sensitive, but after we had sex, we were lying in the bed and he goes, "Man, I could really go for some Chinese food." Jasmine turns to look at me as she drives and smokes. Like, what the fuck, right? So I say, "What the fuck, man?" And he goes, "What? What did I do?" I nod. I worry that she might swerve out of our lane and the highway, out of our lane on the highway, and we will crash into our deaths, or to our deaths. I point at the road ahead. She scoffs, flicks her butt out the window, and lights a new cigarette. So what do you think? What would you do if someone said that? I think I need more context. Like, what time was it? There's nothing more to say about it. Is that racist or not? Did he end up getting Chinese food? Fuck no. She fumes smoke swirling out of her nose like a dragon. I shake the thought, knowing that she'd be super upset if she knew I had thought of it. I already know I haven't said what she wants to hear. And to myself, I say, that would never happen to me. Our little house is partially furnished, not many steps up from a college dorm. We are, after all, only 2.5 years out of college. The kitchen, living room, dining room halls are lavender, and the bedroom walls are mint green. The colors don't bother me anymore. We have a short, white couch and 2 white chairs, a small wicker coffee table, and a small TV. All free hand-me-downs from Jade's parents and grandparents. There's one splurge, a round, solid oak dining room table with a pedestal feet bought off of Craigslist from a young family for $100. Once in the little house, we realized it took up too much space. We prefer to eat our meals on the couch in front of the TV. We pushed the table against the wall, and now it's stacked with books and papers and jackets and random junk accumulated over time. The backyard is bigger than our house. And wild. There are tall grasses and weeds, 2 trees, 1 leafy, 1 peach, though the peaches never sweeten in the fog. When we first moved in, Jay tried hanging a hammock between them, but the trees were too far apart. The hammock was boxed up and returned. And my paper, there you go. There's a lot of unused space back there, which is sacrilege in this city. But the rent is a steal, so we don't feel too bad. "What are you doing?" Jay asks this Sunday morning as he hand grinds coffee beans in the kitchen. He's the type to delve into side interests and hobbies. Currently, he has the coffee mountain biking and bike building and cooking and mushroom growing. He brought the grinder after a week of research into third wave coffee rituals. He wants to do it right. He wants to make the perfect cup. Me, on the other hand, I don't have hobbies. I focus on one thing at a time. I like coffee, however it's made. What I like more is to make plans. I've created a spreadsheet of all the schools you're applying to with checklists for all the documents you'll need and emails for professors to contact, I say. And I want to rank them for likelihood on a scale of 1 to 5. Will you tell me what you think? The coffee bean crunch loudly in the machine, so I shout the names of the schools to him. For some reason, there are 2 schools in Pittsburgh, though neither of us have ever been to Pittsburgh or knows anyone in or anything about Pittsburgh. We like the sound of it, though. 2 solid smack of our lips. He shouts back numbers, though he refuses to go above 3, which I often bump 3.5 or 4 to 3.5 or 4. The goal is to have a range. When I shout the names of the Bay Area schools, he stops grinding and tells me quietly that there are probably 1s or more likely 0s. Why do you think like that, I ask. I'm not competitive. I'm not that smart, he says. Don't say that. There's still a chance, he shrugs. He walks over with a full cup. Here you go. Thank you for helping me. I nod. Thank you. The coffee's really good. OH, bus. 2 young women in blazers. I don't understand. What's not to understand? Okay, you eat more, it turns into added weight in your body. But what happens when you lose your weight? You eat less and you lose weight? But what happens to the weight? Where does it go? You burn it off. You burn it for energy. But where does it, go? It goes away in your waste, like urine and sweat and breath. Is it shit out? Or is it shitted? But what you're saying is that you eat yourself? That's how people lose weight? They eat themselves? Well, not really. Fat is just stored energy. Then fat shrinks when you use it. So what I'm hearing is that it's a form of cannibalism. Self-cannibalism. That's hella creepy. Every morning we scan East Coast tech news. One of us starts a thread and we circulate our pitches. Our editor's green light tells us to toss others. We prioritize news, rushing those pieces, then move on to stories with longer lead times or embargoes. And then finally, if we can, work on our evergreens, the ones that are more in depth or random or fun. Wow. And can go up whenever they're done. All of this involves, for the most part, not moving from our desks. Which is why I now have a standing desk. Everyone has been talking about how much healthier it is to stand and sit, less back pain, lower blood sugar, reduce of heart disease, reduce of cancer, improved mood, etc., etc. I used to stand a lot. It helped that Tim also stood a lot. We stood next to each other for a month, boosting one another up on our accomplishment. One day, Tim sat for lunch. He said his feet hurt. I continued to stand, but then worried it appeared to him that I was making a statement about his sitting by my standing. So then I sat too. We avoided eye contact. The following morning, we stood again, but after lunch. We stood. But again, after lunch, Tim said his feet hurt. Don't worry about me. I'm old, he says. You keep going. But again, I sat, and he did not seem unhappy or disappointed with my choice. And eventually we both gave up and went back to sitting most, if not all, of the day. There is something unnatural about standing for hours with nowhere to go, without moving any part of one's body except one's hands and fingers to type, while the rest of the room sits. It draws too much attention. It's performative. All right, that is the end of this little spiel that I'm going to read for 12 minutes. I'm going to close this book and also read inside the house or just read in my brain. If you continue to like this, please let me know. I will not continue reading otherwise. Bye.